Hi everybody, it's Cheyenne with Wisewood Apothecary. Thanks so much for joining me here with the Herb of the Month Club for December's plant, which is the common juniper berry bush here. Juniper has been walking alongside humanity for ages upon ages in cultures all around the world, and even involved in lots of different religions and spiritual practices as well. So it really is kind of like the people's plant. It's got a little bit of something for just about everybody. There are lots of things that I want to look at and talk to you guys about today. So one of the things is that with juniper berries, which are actually berry-like seed cones, so these are actually cones, not technically berries, but they look like berries, so for all intents and purposes, everybody calls them berries. But these are juniper berries. Now, juniper berries tend to come in 3 different colors. That's because it takes 2 to 3 years for the berries to mature on the plant. So when you see these dark blue ones with a little bit of a purple tinge to it that have the white powder on there, that is the 3rd year berry and they are ready. If they are on the tree and they look more green, like these guys, then those are 1st or 2nd year and they're not ready yet. So you need to leave them longer. So we're looking at more of these dark blue ones that pretty much just look like little blueberries, and those ones are ready. Now, juniper berry bushes are known to be quite sharp, so they tend to need protection when you are harvesting. Your hands need protection. Now, I just come to terms with the fact that no matter what, I'm still gonna have to give blood, so to speak, because this plant has poked me when I'm wearing gloves, when I'm not. It's poked me in the throat, in the face, various parts of my body, and made it hard to harvest, that's for sure. So one of the tricks for harvesting the berries is to actually pull from the underside of the branch rather than come at it from the top. So the top have a lot of spikes and things like that in there, and so if you're coming at it from underneath, you can generally kind of worm in there a little closer to get what you need. Now, juniper, of course, for most people tastes like gin. That is because it is one of the most common ingredients used to make gin. But it does have a lot of flavor past that. So it has kind of a piney, peppery, it's almost a citrus note in there as well. And I find it quite easy to work into various kinds of foods, even sweet foods. So savory and sweet can do with a little juniper in there. One of my easiest, most favorite ways, of course, is just to drop a few of the berries into a cup of hot water. I cover it so that none of the oils escape, and drink it maybe 5-10 minutes later, and you've got a delicious, easy, simple juniper berry infusion. I have weak lungs, hate to admit it, especially as a herbalist. No one wants to admit they have health problems, but I do. I have weak lungs. Growing up, I would get bronchitis a couple times a year. Often it would turn into pneumonia. I was on and off antibiotics all the time, ear infections from complications, blah, 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 blah. And it was a long, arduous process. And the last time I had any trouble with this was probably about 5 years ago, when I had bronchitis, and I was like, I'm gonna do it with just herbs, and the illness just was not responding to the herbs that I was using. So I was like, you know what, I'm probably gonna have to go in to the hospital. But something in me just said, go and get spring water, which is a big ordeal in of itself. I have to drive out the city and all that stuff. But anyway, so I went and got spring water, and when I was getting spring water, I saw all these juniper berry bushes and rose hips. And so I went and I harvested a couple handfuls of juniper berries, of course, asking permission and giving thanks and following the rule of 10, so taking no more than 10% of a healthy population. If you don't know what a healthy population is, you shouldn't be taking any. And yeah, then I brought it home. I made tea with the spring water and the juniper berries and the rose hips. And within about 3 days, I was way improved. So I was coughing up a lot of gunk, which is to be expected, but I was actually coughing it up, and I didn't need to go on antibiotics. So that was a really good time for me. Now, I do not recommend that for everybody. That is not a formula that will necessarily help everyone. It can cause harm to certain people if not addressed properly, if the health concern is not addressed aggressively enough, for instance. I just knew in my case what my boundaries were, and I adhered to them, and I stayed within my limit. So I was ready to go to the hospital if I needed to, but just wanted to give it another try, and it ended up working very well. So now I actually have some confidence if I ever had to survive a situation out in the woods in the winter, for example, and got a respiratory illness, that I would more or less be able to handle it on my own. Since then, whenever I just periodically use juniper berries and rose hips and things like plantain leaves, not plantain the banana, but Plantago major, the herb, and things like that. And that have really helped to increase my lung capacity and my lung health overall. So it is a wonderful thing that's been in my life, this juniper. So yeah, basically I've seen it, flavoring everything from different alcohols and liqueurs to sodas to ice cream to meats. It works very well, especially with fatty meats like duck. Very good with things like bison, mutton, venison, all sorts of different meats as well. Now, for conventional stuff at home, it goes good with like lamb, pork, chicken, turkey, things like that as well. So a lot of recipes just call for crushing the berries and then just rubbing it in pretty much as a marinade. So that is something that can be done as well. So yeah, basically in terms of medicine, the plant is used for a whole myriad of conditions. It's being scientifically researched for its effects on diabetes, positive effects on diabetes. It is heavily relied upon in herbalism and different Eastern medicines and different holistic medicines that use plants, especially in terms of kidney, bladder, and overall renal health. So yeah, very, very useful. Now, I would not recommend that anyone who is pregnant be using the plant, especially at a medicinal level, because as an emmenagogue, it can stimulate smooth muscle tissue, which can basically bring on an abortion. So it's not super safe during pregnancy, and its effects on infants through breastfeeding hasn't been very adequately studied. So I would just say pretty much pregnant and breastfeeding women or people should stay away from using the plant medicinally. Now, there are a lot of texts and websites and practitioners and stuff who warn about the potential effects on things like kidney disease, harmful effects that juniper berries can have on kidney disease. In all of my research, I found actually a lot more research that points that it's not harmful at all. But that being said, do use caution and work with a medical practitioner if you have kidney disease or any sort of major kidney ailments or renal ailments. And definitely work with a medical doctor, naturopathic doctor, certified herbalist, especially a team of all three. Can't really get better than that. And yeah, work together and make sure you're doing what's right for your body. Definitely don't just listen to random people on the internet tell you what's good for your body, including myself. So yeah, basically this is a really good winter plant to know about. The snow is covering a lot of it in the background here, but this Mama Juniper here is one of my favorite plants in the entire world to visit. That's not an understatement. I love this plant. Now, even though I have juniper closer to home for me, I hiked quite a distance to be able to get to this specific plant to show you guys. So I'm very excited for you to meet her. But yeah, this is a Mama Juniper. So if we look up close, right under here, you should be able to see some of its berries. I'm basically showing her private parts right now, so sorry. But yeah, there's lots of the berries on there. So this bush in this whole area is producing quite a bit. So yeah, I actually usually leave the berries here. I don't really harvest them because this is one of the only plants that are this healthy in the area. But I did grab about 4 or 5 little berries today that I'm going to chew on my way as I hike out of here for just a little bit of energy, breath freshener, and just to help ground me with everything. So this is a pretty easily recognizable plant. There is a variety that is commonly used in landscaping that is technically toxic, but it isn't a cumulative toxic as well. So you would have to eat lots of components over a longer period of time for it to really affect you. But still, something to know about is getting really familiar with the different species of juniper, especially the ones that are local to your area. So common juniper is definitely one of the most popular ones around the world and the most well studied. So that's what we're focusing on today, and I just love this one, so why not show it off? Anyways, thanks so much for joining me here again. Definitely let me know if you have any questions. If you are a free member of the Herb of the Month Club, definitely check out the Facebook page periodically to make sure that you're catching up on all the new content. And if you want to get a deeper, more in-depth education with 8 to 9 posts a month, where we dive much, much deeper into the details of each plant, then you will want to invest in a paid membership for the Herb of the Month Club, which can be found on my website at wisewoodapothecary.com. And then there's just a little Herb of the Month Club tab there that you can click on. And there, all the paid memberships are pay what you can, so you can actually just choose which option you want to do. There's month to month, 6 months, yearly, ones that renew annually. It's very flexible. So yeah, definitely let me know if you want to get involved, or if you have any questions or feedback or anything. Comment down below or subscribe to the channel. And thanks so much. Have a good one. Get out there and explore.